right, Jeff Carroll Sci-fi Express Lane. Kind of want to deal with the elephant in the room, right? The elephant project in the room. I got this book coming out this summer in August, which is available for pre-order now, called The Last Harlemite. And for some reason, I've been promoting it everywhere. I just haven't promoted it here. And of course, this is my blog, Sci-Fi Express Lane. My name is Jeff Carroll. I'm a writer, comic book creator, and filmmaker. And I just want to share a little bit about my project, The Last Harlemite. Last Harlemite is a 4-book series. Actually, I'll show it to you. This is the variant cover, the collector cover. First available, going to be at Comic-Con. So, San Diego Comic-Con, that is. And it's the story of a young man named Mancy who is in the post-apocalyptic remnants of New York City. You remember the 5 boroughs? Well, earthquake took them out, and now they're underwater. There's a handful of people living there still, and Mancy is there with a couple of friends, and they doing kid stuff, but it's sort of a post-apocalyptic series, post-apocalyptic world. It's not the New York that we know anymore, and they are exploring the environment and encountering wild things. What do you call it? The world is a tie-in novel, tie-in comic book to a larger world that I have called the Harlem Shake world. And to understand The Last Harlemite better, you can check out my book, The Harlem Shake. And the Harlem Shake is an attempt for me to write a black disaster story. I was always, and still am, a fan of the movie 2012, San Andreas with The Rock, and other kind of natural disaster period stories like The Day After Tomorrow and so forth. And I wanted to write in a genre that black writers didn't really write a lot in. So I said, you know what? I've never read a black disaster story. And still haven't read many black disaster stories. I can't even tell you. Because I don't know what a black disaster is, right? Is it a black tornado? Is it a black water or mudslide? No. But, I guess if you was to write about a volcano in Montserrat or the earthquake when it hit Haiti, maybe you could have something like a black earthquake. But I wanted to do a black global disaster. And 2012 really did it for me. That was like the biggest one. San Andreas with the Rock was really just the San Andreas fault line coming alive. But I took from both of them. And in the Harlem Shake, the world reconfigures back to a Pangea, to a supercontinent. And in the process, the people on the planet, it gets desecrated, almost like Mad Max, or like you see on the comic book cover, Akira, right? So these are things that influenced me. And how I made it black was I decided, let's go with the location. If I make it like a Haiti, right, and deal with a black location, then I can tell the story through black people's eyes, right? And that's what I did with the with the Harlem Shake. was I told the story from a Harlem perspective, and how I stumbled on it. I did think of the name after the dance, the Harlem Shake came out. Unintensito, whatever that dance is that they have going on. But I was looking for fault lines in America. After the earthquake that hit Haiti, I was looking for like fault lines in America, and it just so happened that there's a fault line in Harlem, and it's not on 112th Street. It's not on 148th Street. It's on 125th Street, the most famous and popular street in Harlem, the 125th Street, and it's actually called the 125th Street Fault Line. Then I looked for a title, and the name Harlem Shake came to me. I knew it was from the dance. I knew it was popular, but I was like, you know what? Let's run with it, because it's happening in Harlem, and it's a shake. So it was perfect. And I ended up writing 2 books after that, and have the goal to write 8 books. All right, I have a full story arc of how it's really going to play out, but the quarantine actually hit, and I had just finished I was in the process of, I had just finished writing the 3rd book, and I wanted to get it out, and that's when it stopped, and the world kind of paused, and there's no more book fairs to go to or anything, and people started doing Kickstarter comic books. And I had a comic book that I was set to do for these 2 movies, and I actually didn't have a strategy, and ended up making that my first Kickstarter. And when I got there, I was like, you know what? One-shots are pretty good, but to get in a store, to get in stores nationwide, you need to have a series. And I had commissioned another artist to do series, but he finished it quick, and I wasn't able to get the deal. The guy was like, you got to do 4 issues, or you got to give me a series. And so I had started working on the last Harlemite, and Rustic is the illustrator. He's in the Philippines. He worked on it real quick, and I was like, you know what? I did the first issue, and then he did the 2nd and the 3rd and the 4th so good, so quick, that I was like, let me put it all together. My Kickstarters kind of had gotten botched up. I thought I could do, 5 Kickstarters a year, but that's not, it take about 3 months from setting it up to advertising it and then fulfilling it. So if you ran, if I wasn't doing anything, if I wasn't working, I could probably do that. But now I'm down to like 3 Kickstarters a year, and that feels comfortable. I'm not rushing, and I can think in between. So I didn't have enough time to do another Kickstarter for this 4-book series. And I was like, man, if I do 4 books, am I going to be able to get all that money back? I don't know. It was a little bit, and I could have, and actually think I wouldn't have had no problems doing it, but I ended up packaging it up and trying to get a publishing deal. I had seen some black creators, a bunch of independent creators actually securing deals and getting their stuff out in stores. And I was like, well, I have something, I don't need to do it as a Kickstarter right now. I got other stuff that I can do. And I ran with it, and it turned out really well. And I printed up some books, not the comic books, but color copies, right? At Kinko's, and the book is in black and white, so I only needed the cover and a couple of advertisement pages to be in color, and the rest was black and white. And I took that with me to Comic-Con last year, and I met a few people, had about 3 or 4 companies that I believe were interested. 3 for sure. A 4th one might be a stretch, but one of those really turned out well, and that was Red 5. And now I have it coming out this summer. So the comic book story, it's a splinter of the Harlem Shake, but it tells the story of different characters. In the Harlem Shake, it is 7 Harlemites that survive, and in the comic book, it is another, it's a 16-year-old kid and his friends that are surviving. Whereas in the Harlem Shake, I can't think guys like 27, 25. There's various ages of them all in their 20s. And the first book of the Harlem Shake is the actual disaster. And when whoever survives that, the book picks up a year later after they're coming out of a bunker. And they have these tread bikes, like land snowmobiles. And it allowed me to create an organization called the Harlem Survivors. And their logo is red, black, and green. It's got a bomb, symbolizing a bomb disaster or war. Then they have rain, storm, which is natural disaster. And then they have a bio hazard, which is a pandemic. And then they have what I found on the CDC website was a zombie preparedness guide. So our government has paid for us to have something to do if there's ever a zombie outbreak. And I know this is crazy, but back when they had them outbreaks of bath salts and people were eating people's faces, there was some real energy around the possibility of some type of mental disease that would cause people to go crazy. And a zombie outbreak was at that time, maybe 2015, it wasn't so crazy. But now it sounds crazy, preparing for zombies. You almost laugh at it. But when the dude ate the dude's face from bath salts, then everybody was like, wait a minute, So I put that, zombie on the logo, and the Harlem Survivors became something that I outlined. They're a real organization in my story, and they're the ones that built the bunker. And they have a protocol. They would have overnight activities once a year, like the Boy Scouts. They would camp out in this park called Marcus Garvey Park in the center of Harlem. And they had tenants, and it was really, really interesting to create something like that. And so in The Last Harlemite, Mancy's father is a member of the Harlem Survivors, and he trains Mancy how to survive, how to fish, how to live off the land, how to hunt, how to cook, and to survive, basic medicines. And I became a survivalist and a prepper because of that. And through the story, through the series, you'll get a little bit of that. So I would say this: I encourage you to check out The Last Harlemite. It's going to be in stores all over the country. I'm a Black science fiction writer, so you got elements in there that I'm not really telling you yet. It's exciting. It's action-packed. Rustic is a manga lover, so it's written American format, right? Regular comic book, but it is in manga style. So it's a lot of exaggerated energy, emotions. You'll love it. So check out The Last Harlemite. Comments, questions, the link is in the description. And that's it. My name is Jeff Carroll. Thank you for checking out my Elephant in the Room video. Thank you.